This is one of the advice I always give to young entrepreneurs and say, first business is very important for you to be successful because you're not only telling the outside world, but to yourself also that you can do it.
Right.
Because that confidence helps you to take a lot of other steps in life. If your first business doesn't do well, then a lot of people come and say, oh, this might not be the right thing for you to do.
Hi. So you had seen my previous podcast where I had interviewed some investor, some startups, and today I have someone who can really guide you well for something where you don't have to take much of a risk for your business. You'll get the tried and tested strategies and that will be implemented and you can excel in your business and earn really well. So he's none other than Mr. Gaurav Marya. He is the chairman of Franchisee India. And it is just unbelievable for me that he's there with me because I used to read the Franchisee India magazine so many times. And I used to wonder that how this entire model works and what is it all about. And the person is there with me today. And I'm so excited to talk to him. Mr. Gaurav Marya, welcome to my show. It's really an honor to talk to you today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And it's my honor. And it's very exciting to be in Bhubaneswar after many years. And we are very proud that we are launching our Action Coach firm license here. And so good to talk to you and talk to a lot of entrepreneurs I met in the conference.
Great. So I'm really thankful to Mrs. Sunita Mohanty and Mr. Sanjeev for giving me this opportunity to meet this great guy. And he is going to tell you about different options which are available for franchisee, right from the minimum investment to maximum investment, and what hurdles you face when you start your own brand and what are the advantages when you have these tried and tested strategy, which is already done by a business, and you take up a franchisee and you become the owner of that brand and you excel in that. So, Mr. Gaurav, please tell me that how did you start your journey? I know you are an engineering pass out and I always feel very affiliated to the engineering students. So how did it start and why did you leave your engineering course?
So I started very young, so I don't know. This was always in me. Maybe it came from genes, from my father because he was an entrepreneur. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. While I was even studying, I started several businesses, which is good and a bad thing because you need to really, sometimes it's not that great to start very young. But in my case, it happened. I started very, very young. And fortunately, God was kind. So I got some early mentors or guides who helped me to start my journey. And as I said in the conference today, it's all about timing, right? 70% of success of an entrepreneur depends on his timing when he starts and what opportunity he picks up. And most of the time, if you pick up the opportunity at the right time, you're going to be successful.
Right.
So that's what happened with me. I picked up some opportunities which were the perfect timing for it. And that would be what I would say my advice to a lot of budding entrepreneurs, that your timing is very, very important when you get started.
Right. So once you were starting with your own business, you took up this Franchisee India model. What was the reaction of your parents? Because most of the Indian parents are, they're reluctant for their kids to get into their own business, right? So what was their reaction?
No, I would say I would have to give it credit to my parents because they always maybe thought that I will become an entrepreneur. While they would have not expressed it so much, but they always believed that me and my brother would always take up entrepreneurship because that was something which we were inclined towards, even our early days of when we were in school or even in college. And fortunately, with the first business I picked up, I was pretty successful in that. And this is one of the advice I always give to young entrepreneurs and say, first business is very important for you to be successful because you're not only telling the outside world, but to yourself also that you can do it.
Right.
Because that confidence helps you to take a lot of other steps in life. If your first business doesn't do well, then a lot of people come and say, oh, this might not be the right thing for you to do. So in my case, my first business was very successful. And hence I was given that freedom to take more calls, and some worked and some didn't work. That's fine. But your first business has to be successful.
So, since my program is based for the youngsters and some career aspirants who are into the job and they want to change the career stream, I would just like to want you to give a layman perspective of franchisees models, because there are different franchisee models. So, just a layman perspective, if somebody wants to know what are the models which are available.
So franchising by little meaning means rights of privilege granted. When you take somebody's brand for a different location, it becomes a franchise. And the model is very clearly, when you take a franchise, you have to pay upfront fee for the license you're taking. It can be for a single unit, it can be for a full state, or it can be for a country, which we call the master franchise. And you would have to give royalties as you. What is the advantage of franchising is that franchising, as you said with the start of your program, has much lower risk because you're buying into something which is already proven.
Right.
And there is a lot of support structure which small businesses particularly need. They need a lot of centralized support.
Right.
It can be supply chain, it can be marketing, it can be training, a lot of other things which are required. And that's why franchising becomes very attractive. And there is 70% of all franchise survive 5 years versus startups.
Right.
Startups actually is a reverse. About 80% of startups fail in the first 5 years.
Right.
So franchising has many advantages. And that's why a country like India, where we have 60% of first-time business buyers,
Right.
they have never done business. So franchising becomes great for them because they need support, they need help, so that they can really successfully run the business.
Right. So you must have met a lot of entrepreneurs, startups, or the persons who are not from the business background, or maybe people who have not been very successful in their existing business and then they switch over to franchisee, right? So what has been your experience? That what is easy for you to start with the freshers or the persons who have not been very successful in their business or who are already into their business?
So these all profiles come to us, and while if you are somebody who's done business and you've been successful, so your maturity of assessment of an opportunity is much better. But the effort you require to make the new business successful is the same for all three.
Right.
But if you are a first-time business buyer, that's the biggest challenge, is that how do you select the right opportunity? Because most of the time people jump into business which they feel is good or they are passionate about that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I see a lot of people from IT and technology end up starting a food business just because they're passionate about it, and they don't know how much hard work it requires. And they have never done that, right? So when you're working in a multinational IT company, you're actually enjoying your weekends, and now if you start a food business, you're working on Saturdays and Sundays most, right? So you need to see the adaptability of your expectation and how your expectation would come from the business you're choosing. I call the 4 fits: the strategic fit, financial fit, the operational fit, and the marketing fit. So every entrepreneur should find these 4 fits before they choose any business.
Right. So, for a startup, what will you suggest? That is it feasible for the startup to go for a heavy investment, or it should start with an experiment basis, maybe a very low investment to take up any franchisee?
This is a very, very good question, and this is where things go wrong, forecasting what the investment is required for your business and where it is going to come from. And I can give you a couple of advices. Like 70% of businesses which fail, they fail because of undercapitalization.
Okay.
So people start a business and they don't know what kind of investment or gestation would require.
Right.
Sometimes businesses take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to see a cash break even. So how do you really calculate that? Second, what is the source of your funds?
Right.
Sometimes people are over leveraged. They take higher interest rate loans, personal loans, and the business is already in pressure.
Right.
Third, sometimes people start a small business thinking that it will cover their income levels. Say you're a professional, you're making 2 lakh rupees and you start a small business, but your expectation is that 2 lakh rupees would come from your business, right? So these 3 very important aspects you need to do. What is your expectation as financial goal? Second, you're not over leveraged on that. And third, your capex and opex planning, you've done it very right. That's why you need to have a professional who can advise you, a coach which can guide you to times of what business you should choose and how you plan your resources to run that business.
Right. So during COVID time, sir, I had seen that a lot of people have started their businesses from home also. And by God's grace, it's doing really well. I saw a lot of homemakers who started the businesses, a lot of cloud kitchens which came up, and there were different other businesses also. So has something impacted the entire franchisee India model after COVID?
Yeah, so it's a lovely thing, or rather, I was never a fan of work from home. So this whole thing came in work from home in the COVID period. I was never a fan of that because you don't get that infrastructure. People tend to become lazy; they don't work. But business from home is a real serious opportunity, and that's what I'm encouraging. So rather, I'm encouraging business for home. So if you have a business which you can run and manage from your home, like you're running this channel and you can run this business pretty much from home, it's a great business to be in. And we will get a lot of creative ideas and a lot of creative businesses and all other businesses also, which you can really manage out of home. And that's a great thing to do. If you can do a business from home, that's a tremendous opportunity.
Right. And what is the minimum and maximum franchise? Maximum, I think there is no limit, but what is the minimum start point for a franchisee to, run the show?
So the largest segment of franchising for unit franchise is anything from a 10 lakhs to about 30 lakh rupees. But you can small as maybe 2 lakh rupees or 1 lakh rupee if you take a small courier service franchise or a Amazon delivery franchise or any other franchise. And on a higher side, it can go to, a place like this where we're sitting is a Taj franchise. It can be a 5-star hotel. It can be a large hospital. It can be a master franchise for a global company. And the investment can go as high as possible. But most of the people who are taking a unit franchise would do 10 lakhs to about 30, 40 lakh rupees.
Okay. So, as I was talking about different models, I heard about shop and shop franchisee. I heard about company operated franchisee, that model. And then maybe, the owner operated franchisee mode. So in your point of view, what is going better out of these three?
So 90% is independently owned, independently operated franchise, which is franchise owned, franchise operated.
Right.
And that to me is the best model. And that's where the best of the entrepreneur also comes out. The whole purpose you taking a franchise is that you want to start your own entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
But sometimes I would call the lazy entrepreneurs who don't want to work in their business. They want to just invest.
Right.
They choose to do what I call the franchise owned, company operated. You have to be very careful about it. A lot of issues happen in this kind of situation because people tend to always expect these three things. One, they want a higher return.
Right.
Second, they want zero risk. And third, they don't want to work.
Yeah.
But this is not true. This is the real world. This doesn't happen. So sometimes wrong entrepreneurs, wrong companies give this greed, these three things.
Right.
They will give you a higher return. They'll tell you that you don't have no risk and you don't have to work. And to me, this is not true. Right. So you have to be intelligent that if somebody is going to work for you and make money for you, why would they need your capital? Right. So it has to be careful, but there are large companies. There are even groups like Tata's who are offering franchise owned, company operated. Some other groups are also opening, which are credible.
Right.
So then you can choose with that credible company. So FOCO, franchise owned, company operated has to be very carefully looked at.
So you have listed so many companies, right? From the smallest ones to the biggest ones, right? There must be some scrutiny system to check whether it is genuine or not. So I would like you to highlight something about that because today, if I have a company, I might give an ad in Franchisee India. But what is the authenticity level of that? I think that you can tell our viewers.
Yeah, so it's very hard to really, while we do a lot of verification, I personally meet most of the brands but it's still very difficult to really go down and see, that every opportunity is verified or so while I have a different approach, I always try to educate the investor. You have so many choices.
Right.
You need to meet more and more companies before you make a decision to start. And you need to talk to their existing franchisees. You need to understand their business model, how they're going to support you. Take advice of a good lawyer, good chartered accountant, good consultant, before you make a decision to do it. So I call the 3-stage: information, evaluation, and negotiation. Never bypass this in order. You have right to information, you evaluate yourself, and then also negotiate hard because you're getting into a contract with somebody. So if you follow these three principles, most likely you will reduce your risk.
And please tell us about something, the new company that you have taken up, I think Action Coach, right? And the interesting part was Sir told us that if you want to really relax in 6 months of time, you want to put your business into auto mode. That was something really luring, I think, and for most of the business owners, that will be luring. So how do you do that? What is the magic behind it?
So Action Coach is a phenomenal organization. It's globally the number one coaching company. We have coaches all over the world in 93 cities. We're very proud in India that we have many coaches which are very, very successful. And the whole coach is actually to get best performance out of you. So when you run a business and you want the best performance and productivity and systems and processes of your business to go to the next scale journey, you need a good coach who would sit behind you and work with you to put that entire thing. And Action has over the time developed a lot of tools which especially SMEs need in India, because sometimes SME owner is very isolated.
True.
And the networking platforms don't guide you so much. So you need to have a coach who has the interest aligned on your business along with you to improve that business. Yeah.
So I think we talked on very serious note. Now something I would like to know about your family on a lighter note. Tell us something about your family. Who all are there and what do you do during your leisure time? How do you spend your leisure time and your hobbies or something?
So honestly, I will start with the last part. I don't have any hobbies, right? So I enjoy my work and I like
That's
meeting. Yeah, that's my hobby. I love meeting entrepreneurs. I'm blessed with two daughters, and both of them I'm trying to make them entrepreneurs because I have made a lot of people entrepreneur in this country. At this stage, they're studying. They're in education, and obviously, I've been seeding in them, and I think hopefully.
So they stay in Chandigarh?
They stay in Delhi. Delhi. Now I moved from Chandigarh to Delhi for 20 years back. And my wife is editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur magazine. My brother is running a Franchise India along with me. He runs the entire media business. My sister-in-law is also, my parents are in, my sister-in-law also is a CEO for Franchise India. And she has been the one who was part of the Franchise India since inception. And my parents live in Chandigarh. So that's what our small family is. And but we have family of very closely knit and all working in the same group, but having different businesses to lead. And then I have extended family of Franchise India, which is also, have been with me for many, many years. And so we all enjoy what we do. And that's what is exciting part.
So you must be knowing Punjabi really well, right?
Yeah, I should not be, but a little bit Punjabi I know, but I don't speak that often now. But yes, if you come from Chandigarh, then you have to be Punjabi. My wife speaks very good Punjabi. She was actually a lecturer in a Punjabi college. So she used to teach economics in Punjabi.
I would love to hear that actually, how the economics is translated into Punjabi. That's something really interesting. And what about your parents? They are still staying there only now? And one more question on a lighter note, if you don't mind. घर में झगड़े भी तो होते हैं, right? अब किस टाइप के झगड़े होते हैं? Maybe इसका लेना है फ्रेंचाइजी, उसका नहीं लेना है?
Yeah, so it's a first answer. My parents live in Chandigarh, so we have a lovely house in Chandigarh, so we all go there quite often. And हाँ, झगड़े तो होते हैं घर में, लेकिन हमें लगता है कि जो एक तो हमारे बिजनेसेस हैं जरूर एक साथ,
कंस्ट्रक्टिव,
अभी तो कंस्ट्रक्टिव वाले होते हैं. And so we are blessed that we have a family which works together but still has independent businesses and independent roles to do. So we don't have too much of overlap. And that way we are saved. And I'm looking forward for now my girls
not
too.
Jhagda exactly, but some sort of disagreement on something. But
So that happens all the time because we have different opinions on different things, and we also have learned to respect each other's opinion, if I can say that.
Okay. So what is the Mool mantra of getting ahead with a great marriage?
So Mool Mantra is that you have to accommodate each other's personality and understand, the space you need to give it each other. And also, I think you have to respect individuality of, and then only it can really be, you can earn respect if you give respect. So that's how it works.
Right. Any message for your family?
So, a message for family through a podcast is not so great idea. You want to, but yeah. So, my everything is family, and everything you do in life is for family. So we're blessed, and you should thank God that you've been blessed with a great family who cares about you, who loves you. That's what is important. And I
Think for the youngsters.
so youngsters, I can say, obviously, youngsters who are looking to become an entrepreneur, this is perfect time. I always say that if you are at this stage in India and you have an opportunity to start your entrepreneur journey, you should thank God, because this is something which is happening. If you see the world around, and the only country which looks progressive and doing well is India. So if you are an entrepreneur in India today, you should really thank, and this is the greatest opportunity of our times, which we are all sitting on.
Right. So thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav. It was really nice to talk to you. I feel so elated. I feel so honored that you took out some time. We had some technical issues in the beginning of the podcast, but I must say that sir has been really supportive, and he has got immense patience because he was there throughout and he was waiting for the technical error to get rectified. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Really.